Today is new moon, and we kind of take it for granted that the moon, the sun, the stars, the planets, everything. We just take it for granted it's there, right? But we really seldom think about the symbolic and the actual significance of these stellar planetary bodies. What do they mean? What do they signify? How do they impact us? And each of them has an impact on us in some way, shape, or form. And that is the interconnectedness of the human body, the human mind, the human being, with everything that is out there. Nothing is not connected with each other. From the smallest molecule to the largest star in the galaxy, in the entire creation. It's all connected in some way, perhaps mysterious to most of us, but not to all. There are people and sages and masters and teachers in the past who have deciphered this connectedness, written about it, talked about it, and left for us to experience it. So what does the new moon mean? Is it really new? Why do we even call it a new moon? It's as ancient, the moon is as ancient as the earth itself. It rotates around the earth. The earth rotates around the sun. So it's as old and ancient as the earth itself. So why do we call it new? What does it mean really? So it's the opposite of what we call the full moon, when we can actually see the moon in all its glory, in all its brightness up in the sky. But the new moon we can't see, but yet it's there. So how does this happen? What is the symbolism behind this? So when we see the light, when we see the moon, when we say we are seeing the moon in the sky, what we are seeing is a reflection of the sun. It's the sun reflecting on the moon as the moon is going around, because remember from our science lessons that only one face of the moon is always in front of the earth. And the one that comes in front of the sun is what shines, and that gives us the full moon. And when it goes into the other direction, it becomes dark because there's no reflection of the sun. But does it mean the sun is not there? Even the sun is there all the time. So it's very, very metaphorical. It's very, very symbolic for us to understand as human beings that even when there is darkness, on this night, very soon there'll be no sunlight of any kind, there'll be no daylight. It'll be total darkness because there'll be no moon to give us that light. Even in that dark night of the new moon, the sun is still there on the other side. We can't see it because it's not reflecting on the moon anymore as it does on full moon, but it's still there. So there's no reason to despair. There's no reason to be sad, to be worried, to be depressed. It's a matter of just a few days, and you'll start, in fact, starting tomorrow, you'll start to see a little glimmer of that light, that crescent will start to appear and become bigger and bigger. That's the hope. It's like you come out of a tunnel and you start to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and you start to feel good. You go into another tunnel after 28 days or 14 days. Do you again feel despair? No, because you know that the tunnel is going to end. There will be light at the end of the tunnel. That's the new moon. That's the lunar cycle itself. Unfailingly, every 28 days, every 14 days, the cycle continues. Unfailing, down to the microsecond. It rises. You can see the crescents. It has the phases, the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, the fourth quarter. And it goes on and on and on. That's life. It goes on and on and on. That's the human body. So how does it relate to the human body? Very, very simple if we try to understand it. Like I said, everything is interconnected. So the female menstrual cycle is supposed to be theoretically exactly 28 days. That's the lunar cycle. It corresponds exactly with the lunar cycle. That's the way nature has made it, because we are part of that nature, we are part of that same creation. If everything goes well, if we live in resonance with nature, man and woman, that cycle works unfailingly as 28 days. And there are many communities around the world which have not been corrupted by civilization, by development, and by all of the artificial things that we now take for granted around us in our life. They still follow that cycle down to the T, 28 days. It does not change like clockwork. There are tribes, natives in many parts of the world, in the Amazon, the Mayans, the Incas, who live with nature, living with the stars and the moons and the planets. All the women in that community, in those communities, all the women, they all menstruate at the same time on the new moon day. They don't do anything. It's just a natural cycle. It's a natural phenomenon. They don't have to do anything. That's the way nature is meant to be. But we have lost all our touch and interconnectedness with nature, and now we know what price we are paying for that. So this is an attempt for us to become more aware, to bring that awareness into our life of all kinds, whether it is through the moon meditation, whether it is any other kind of meditation, whether it's some kind of a yogic practice or some healing modality, to bring us in resonance with nature. Because nature has given us all these gifts, wonderful gifts of all kinds, but we choose not to partake in them because we think we are superior, we think we are more intelligent, we are smarter. We are actually stupid. We make our own lives miserable by trying to think we are stupid, we are smarter. So this new moon today, this was the first symbolism. The sun not being despaired, it's total darkness, but don't lose hope. The sun is going to rise up and the moon is going to start moving again. It's always moving. The second is, it's also a time. So what happens in the menstrual cycle? In the menstrual cycle, women grow up in the old and shed all the old stuff. That's what it is, but from a biological point of view. They're shedding all the old stuff, making way for the new, which will come to full bloom on full moon day when they are most fertile. They're ready for that next life. So today is the day at the peak of the menstrual cycle when they're shedding, giving up. So symbolically, what we do today on the new moon day is to also give up all of the old stuff. We accumulate so much baggage as we live our lives. Throughout our life, we're also always accumulating, we're always carrying, we're always building up. It builds up mentally, physically, emotionally, all kinds of things, events, experiences. And before you know, you're just burdened with that. It just droops us down. We don't have the ability to even think beyond what we are carrying. So today is an opportunity. In fact, not just today, but every 28 days, every new moon day is an opportunity to get rid of what we don't need anymore, that we unconsciously have picked up, have accumulated, that we don't even think about. It's sitting somewhere in our psyche. And this is what gives rise to blockages, what we call in healing, blockages. And these blockages then give rise to, they manifest in the form of physical, mental, emotional issues of all kinds as we go along, because they are blocking the energy lines, the energy fields, and it's not allowing the chi and the ki and the prana to move the way it should be to nourish us and nurture us. So it's time to shed all that we don't need. So what we're going to do today, among a few other practices, is we're going to think for a few minutes. Close our eyes. We're going to think for a few minutes. Whatever it is that you want to get rid of in your life, that you no longer have a need for, that you don't want to carry with you anymore. It could be a relationship issue, it could be an emotional issue of some kind bothering, it could be an addiction to something, it could be trying to give up something that you've been trying to give up, it could be whatever it is. And we all have that. It is a human tendency to accumulate. No matter how much in awareness we live, we still have a tendency, because that's just the nature of life. It's the nature of modern life, because we have to interact with people. When we interact with people, we pick up their energy, we pick up things from them, from others, and we don't even realize it, whether it's through relationship or just from strangers sometimes, from our colleagues, from students, from, all around, there's this thing going on. So we need to push back. We need to get rid of that. So actually there are two ways to do it from a healing point of view. What we do is, one is you can actually create a shield, an armor around you. Literally like a physical armor. You can create a spiritual or an oral armor around you. So that negative energy, those influences don't even penetrate. They don't even come close to you. You're protected. That's a different issue we can talk about some other day, not today. And Ramona here is a good healer. She does a lot of wonderful things from her healing modalities. And in case anyone is interested, she can help on that process. The second one is to consciously get rid of these things, as we are going to do today. So there are two ways to create this field for yourself. One is to protect yourself through creating a shield around you, an armor, so you as you go along in your life, it doesn't penetrate you. You live in your own awareness, almost like your own bubble. And then when you meet, and then you have satsang. So when you have satsang, you have other people with the same vibration, with the same resonance. So you feel good. Their energy comes and resonates with you. It's the same frequency. You're vibrating on the same frequency. If you're not, it's going to go away. It's like static. I don't want this. This is static. This is not good for me. It's like an orchestra. If someone is out of tune, you don't want that person in the orchestra. You know right away. You don't have to. You can play music with your eyes closed, and you can hear it, and you know, oh, this person is out of tune. What is she doing over there? So you want to be away from that. Same thing. It's exactly the same thing. If we just live with that awareness, we have the ability naturally to ward off all these evil influences, negative energies, to give rise to blockages and so on, really. So what we're going to do is take a few minutes, close your eyes, go deep down inside yourself, take some deep breaths, think of today, think of the past few days, think of the past few weeks, think of whatever it is that comes to mind that you are trying to get rid, that you would love to get rid of. And it can be more than one thing, more than one issue or whatever it is. And you're going to write it. Ramona is going to give you some piece of paper and a pen. You're actually going to write it on that piece of paper, whatever it is that you want to get rid of. And then we're going to do a little ritual to do that. That's the first thing we're going to do, to get rid of what we don't need anymore. That's the old stuff we want to do. And then we are going to meditate on that, and then we are going to do, so this is called, what is called intentions. The intention to get rid of. The universe works beautifully with intentions. If you put the intention out there to the universe with all your open heart, with all your open mind, with full of love and sincerity, the universe always makes that happen. That is my personal experience, I can tell you. It always does. It takes time sometimes, but it never fails, so long as you're doing it with a pure heart, open heart, and sincerity. We both have experienced that, and it comes true sooner or later. So we're going to put a second intention out there. What is it that we would like to manifest in our life? What is it that we would like to have happen? Again, it's different from a prayer. A prayer sounds selfish, that we want it just for ourselves. But an intention is something that is generally for the larger good. You're part of that. You are the kind of the fulcrum, you're the focus. But it's generally for a larger good of the entire creation. Because remember what I said, we're all connected to everyone else. We're all connected to everything. Not just, we don't live in We're not an island unto ourselves. We don't live just for ourselves. So it is for a larger good, or whatever it might be, of our family, of our friends, of our community, of our society, of the entire creation. So the power of that is very powerful when you put that intention out there, again with an open heart, pure mind, with all the sincerity. The universe resonates with that, and sooner or later it manifests. Have you read the book The Secret?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's part of that, and there's also a movie, by the way. You should also see that. It's a beautiful movie. It's not just theoretical. Again, some of us, I can tell you from my experience, maybe you have to. It's real. It's real. So all that we're doing right now today is formalizing that. Using this opportunity of this new moon, when there's total darkness, the sun is still there. We think of whatever we want to first get rid of. We don't need that in our life anymore. Then we want to think of what we want to manifest in our life, things that something we would like to have happen, and then we do a second ritual. So take 5 minutes, and I'll ring a bell, then come back, and then you'll start writing the first part of it, which is to get rid of what you don't want. So along with the fire, the vibration, the sound, which is vibration itself, is also a messenger. It's also a way to connect to the higher self. And that's why we have mantras, and there are different mantras that we chant in different cultures that create the vibration, that create the sound, to carry that feeling, that thought, or whatever it is that the mantra represents. Same as the fire. The fire is kind of non-denominational. It doesn't have a word pH, it doesn't have a language. It is universal. But when you combine the fire with the sound mantra, with the sound vibration, it becomes double. It enhances the power of that message. So when we do formal fire ceremonies in a more elaborate way, it's a combination of what we offer in the fire along with the sound vibration of the mantras, of these sayings, and it creates this potent energy of whatever we are trying to. It could just be giving gratitude. It could be giving our intentions out there. It could be whatever it is that we are trying to manifest. This becomes the messenger. It becomes a conveyor to the universe. So now, as I said, we'll do the second part of the ritual. So you'll get another piece of paper.
I did not make enough, so...
You can make it smaller.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Share it.
And again, before you start writing, we're going to meditate for 5 minutes. I'll ring the bell. And this time, you're going to go deep down in yourself, and what is it that you truly would like to manifest in your life today, in this moment? What is it that would be good for you, for people around you, for family, friends, community, society, whatever it is? It could be anything. It could be something very simple and mundane. It could be something very broad, world peace. You want to manifest that. It could be something simple that you want for someone who's close to you or something. If someone is ill in your family, or if you have some kind of a physical ailment, or whatever it is, think of whatever it is. This doesn't have any color or any creed or anything. It could be whatever it is, something. But make it, if you can, non-selfish. What I mean by that is, if you read The Secret, okay, in The Secret it says that even if you want, let's say, wealth, so you imagine that you're writing yourself a check. You just write a check to yourself. And sure enough, if you read the book and the movie, things start happening in a way that abundance starts to come in. It may not come in the form of a check. The check is a symbol of abundance. But things start happening that give you a sense of abundance. So wanting to write a check may appear selfish, but the intention was something bigger. And so we differentiate between the normal material wealth and abundance. Abundance is far bigger. It's more encompassing. It's more spiritual. So a sense of abundance can even come where you don't have enough money, but you still feel abundance. You feel a sense of gratitude and love and affection and people around you and everything else. So that's non-selfish. Or if you just want a big house for yourself, or you want a flashy car for yourself, that's a little, universe might still manifest it. Who knows? Universe works in a very strange manner. What I'm trying to say is that, it's always nice in the spiritual world to have a larger focus of the entire creation, of the entire universe, of all the interconnectedness. Not just because we are not the center of the universe. Remember, we are not the center of the universe. We think we are. Human being was always thinking, I am the center. Everything revolves around me. Okay? We are not even a minuscule atom. So we have to think of the global, like in our body, each cell is one of billions. Yet one cell might think, I can create cancer, or I can do this, I can create COVID, or I can do this, I have the power to do that. But there's something far bigger, far larger that it may not know that there are other good cells and there are other things that are defending us, protecting us, and there's a bigger plan and all of that. So the problem is if we isolate ourselves and think of this as an ego, and that's our ego talking. I am the center, I. Universe says, okay, be with yourself. But if you change that completely, that I am just part of the whole, I'm part of something much bigger, the universe will embrace you. Have you seen the inside of a watch or a clock? There are typically 3, 4, 5, depending on how intricate the watch is. There are 6, 7 circles sometimes, and they're all rotating around the cog, the wheels. Have you seen that ever inside?
Yeah.
Well, the old watches, not the new
So
ones.
they all work in tandem. The creator, the watchmaker, has made them in such a beautiful fashion that they all work in tandem all the time to give you that precise time down to the second. That's the way the Creator has made the universe. Every moment in the entire universe is clockwork for a particular reason, for a particular purpose. Who are we to think of if we change something, what's going to happen? It's beyond imagination, it's beyond our contemplation.
I have another question.
Sure.
There was a recent rare planetary alignment. How did that affect what is happening with us?
So are you talking of the Sirius and the Sun in alignment right now?
Not right now. I think it was a year or two ago.
Well, there are all kinds of alignments that happen regularly from an astronomical point of view. They come into alignment. So again, because they're moving constantly, they're moving at different speeds, in different rotation cycles.
I think all the orbits.
Right, they are aligned together,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So again, all of them create their own vibration. Now, if you believe in astrology, astrology is about understanding and deciphering the movement of these planets and how it affects us at the individual level. They're able to pinpoint that to that level, to that point. And again, it's from my experience, I can tell you that the day and time I was born, so how the stars and the planets were aligned at that time, and the time I was actually born, determines my entire life going forward. And it is true. From my experience, I can tell you that. That's the precision to which the universe has been created. So what happens is when the planets, the stars, the different planetary bodies, they come in any kind of alignment, it creates a certain vibration. And that vibration affects each of us depending on our own cycle. Each of us is also on our own cycle. At the molecule level, at the cellular level, at the physical level, we are in our own cycle. So sure enough, any kind of alignment of any kind, any change affects us. So again, to go back to the female menstrual cycle. So the menstrual, so let's back up. So if you know geography and science, the high tides and the low tides, you know that the tides are related to the phases of the moon, right? We studied that in school.
Yeah.
It's a scientific fact. The human body is made up of 75 to 80% of water. That water content in our body, 75-80%, is also affected by it's like a tide. It's affected by the phases of the moon. So what does that mean? It manifests itself in the form of mood swings, in the form of health issues, headaches, migraines. So women around the menstrual cycle, they have all these, things they start experiencing 1 or 2 or 3 days before, 1 or 2 days before, because their whole body is reacting to that moon cycle. Now, here's something interesting. Men have periods too. We are not immune from that cycle. Just because we biologically don't manifest it the way the women do does not mean we are not having that cycle. We are still the same body with physical body with 80% water. Do this exercise for yourself to prove it to yourself. Start keeping a diary. And start noting your mood swings or days that you feel low energy, or you're feeling affected, or you feel like you're fatigued, or something is happening in your body, something strange. Start noting it down. Do it over a period of 6 months. And you'll be surprised to see, and then correlate it to the lunar cycle.
Yeah.
It's the effort again, because we bring ourselves into the center of saying, okay, I am the doer, I can do this, I'm responsible for this. We are just an instrument. Things are happening through us, not because of us. We are not the cause, we are the effect. The cause is something much bigger out there. Well, thank you for coming. We're just going to close with a closing meditation. And again, bring your intentions, whatever you have created, manifest it today into that meditation, into that awareness deep inside you. Be grateful. Connect yourself to the higher self, to the universe, in whatever way or form you normally do. And let's just stay deep inside. Take a couple of deep breaths.